Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz claimed fraud in healthcare sector ballooned during the pandemic and vowed to continue rooting out bad actors exploiting Medicaid. Foundations funded and co-founded by Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeff Bezos have launched a project that will commit $200 million to revive 100 of Earth's most threatened species. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Word of an accident in Niceville on Highway 20 at Cedar Avenue. Got an accident on Pine Forest Road at West 9 Mile Road. Watch for some slowing on the Pensacola Bay Bridge from Gregory Street to Gulf Breeze Parkway. It's a 10-minute drive. On Highway 59 from I-10 to Gulf Shores, 50-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by Beau Rivage. Multi-platinum superstar Flo Rida is coming to Beau Rivage October 16th. Don't miss a night of high-energy club hits like Low and My House. Get your tickets now at BeauRivage.com. Schedule subject to change. Some restrictions may apply.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate. Yes, I really do appreciate. All right, let me stop this. All right, I think I stopped the stuff that was not supposed to play. So here I am. Yes, I'm back. Still trying to learn the new software here on the Uncle Henry Show. Uncle Henry Show underway here on News Radio 710 WNTM. I was supposed to be back with you yesterday, and I'll tell you why I wasn't back with you yesterday here in just a moment. But I just noticed I have a living caller. Now somebody is calling in. They have no knowledge of what the program will be about this evening. So let's find out what this urgent call is. Hello, caller.
Hello, Hunt. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. You are live on the radio.
Good stuff, man. Happy to be here. First, do you have any live broadcasts coming in early September?
Live broadcasts? Not that
Are you going to be out and about somewhere doing a live broadcast?
I would like to be, but nothing's planned yet. I would like to be. So I will let you know as soon as something is decided.
Fair enough. Second. What is your college football forecast?
I do not have one. I don't know. It's changed so much with all the money. I have no idea who's going to be any good. I have no idea.
Man, I feel you, man. These days you don't know where to go with it. But do you think Bama is is going to do well and make the playoffs this year?
That is what I've been led to believe. There's a lot of people that have led me to believe this, but the truth will be told in the game. So we'll just have to wait and see if they're as good as we think they are or not.
I gotcha. Who is the Roll Tide's QB this year?
What now? Who's the what?
Who's going to be Bama's quarterback this year?
Oh, I have no clue yet. I have no idea yet. I have not even started to pay attention at this point. I've got so many weird things going on and going all over the place. I have not yet dialed in on the Alabama football Roll Tide.
I hear you, man. Well, we got about four more weeks to go, and I'm an Auburn guy, and I got to the point where I just don't pay attention to any of it until that first play of the first game. So it's gonna be a fun one this year. I think it's gonna be a intriguing college football year, like it always is. But this one's gonna be a good one, and so we're Eagle, and Have a good one, Nook.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for your phone call. And well, I'm not going to War Eagle you. That would be ridiculous. But I will Roll Tide you back. I will Roll Tide you back. Roll Tide, roll. And we'll see. We'll all find out together. I wish I had time, and maybe some of my other callers can fill me in, either with live calls or voicemails, about how they think the Tide will do this year. Because I have some listeners that are really into it and listen to all the podcasts and read all the garbage. So I'll just wait for them to tell us what they think Alabama is going to do today. So let's see. Here on the Uncle Henry Show, I got a lot to tell you about. Before I get into my stories of where I was and what has been going on with me, I want to let you know that I am going to be out at Revive Church. I've been invited by Killer Bees to be on his panel tonight at his Christian comedy revival at Revive Church out in West Mobile. This is an absolutely free comedy show this evening. Starts at 7 o'clock. If you want to come out and see some comedians tell jokes, and here's some Christianity that'll be weaved in there. That the show starts at 7, and they start up at 6 o'clock at Revive Church. They have free dinner provided by Alec Naaman, and this is while supplies last. I think they have enough for about 100 people. So if you'd like to have a free meal provided by Alec Naaman, go out to Revive Church. They start serving up food at 6. They start playing some music at 6:30. Some of their praise people start playing some music at 6:30. 7 o'clock is when the Christian comedy revival begins. And that is Revive Church at 601 Ziegler Circle in Mobile, Alabama. It's a 1-hour show. They do it for television. This is shown on local Christian television on the Gulf Coast. And it's also online. So if you're interested, that's tonight. Dinner at 6 o'clock. The show is at 7 o'clock. And I'm one of the people that is now. I'm not gonna be telling jokes. I guess I'm just there. I fill out the panel. They needed an extra body, and so I'm going to be out there sitting there. So that is tonight at Revive Church. And I'll mention this again enough to irritate you as the hour goes forward. Now let's see what to tell you about before we go to a break. I will have city council coverage from today's Mobile City Council meeting later in the hour. I left last Thursday to go visit a relative. I've got a young relative, a young man that I helped raise, who is in the Navy. And he was on deployment for a long time. He was deployed in Japan, and then back when we went after Iran, right at the end of his deployment, he was redeployed and had to spend months as a member of the U.S. Navy on an air base in Israel. So I've been I've been concerned. I've been concerned about him and all the other people serving. But he finally, his deployment ended. He was on leave for a couple of weeks. And so my wife and I, last Thursday, we flew to communist Seattle. Yes, we flew to communist Seattle, Washington. And then we drove 2 hours northwest of communist Seattle to visit my relative where he lives with his wife on a place called Whidbey Island, Whidley, Whidley Island. They have a naval air station on that island where they do a lot of training for people that work with jets in the Navy on that island. And I'll tell you about the island at some point because I was not prepared for the island. Many things about it I was not prepared for. But I was supposed to be on the air with you yesterday. But that didn't happen. Our flight we were going to travel from Seattle Airport, SeaTac, Seattle-Tacoma Airport, Sunday, we were going to travel from there to Dallas and then from Dallas to Gulfport. We flew out of Gulfport because we booked these flights at the last minute. The cheapest tickets were out of Gulfport, shockingly. So we flew out of Gulfport to Seattle. The trip up there was airline, everything went great. Everything went great flying up there, except that my wife, once again, had to be frisked by the TSA. Every time we fly, my wife is frisked by the TSA. And some lady even almost knocked her down with the aggressive frisking. But when it came time to come home, this was Sunday, early Sunday afternoon, got on the plane. We're flying from Seattle, Tacoma to Dallas. We got on the plane, go out on the near the runway. I don't know all the technical terms, but everybody's on board. The door's closed. The plane, they've turned on the plane, and we're out there. We're waiting to take off. And we're sitting out there waiting for a long time. And I'm thinking, well, this is a big airport. There's a bunch of people trying to get out of this communist place. We have to wait our turn out here. It seems like a long time. It's like 45 minutes sitting out there, about 45 minutes. The captain comes on the intercom and he says, "Hey, everybody." And I'm paraphrasing him. He didn't sound like me, that's for sure. But the captain comes on the intercom and says, "Hey, everybody. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fly you to Dallas. We've been out here on the tarmac for so long waiting to take off that now the flight crew, we're all in danger of going over our maximum allowed minutes of flight for the day." See, there are rules. We learned this, unfortunately. I wish I'd never learned this. But we learned that there's only a certain number of minutes a flight crew can be flying. You're not allowed to go over. You're not allowed to exceed your maximum number of minutes. And we had waited so long on the tarmac that the pilot and the flight crew, if they were to take off and fly the 4 hours, I think it takes a little over 4 hours to fly from Seattle to Dallas, it would have made them over their maximum number of flight minutes. And so he says to us, "I'm sorry, we can't fly that far. We'd go over our hours. So we're looking for somebody to fly the plane. And we'll let you know if we find somebody." So we wait. Everybody on the plane just sitting there waiting. When can they find us a pilot? Can they find us a pilot? Guess about 30 minutes later, the pilot comes on and says, or maybe I think it was a little less than 30 minutes. Pilot comes on and says, "What we're going to do, we can't find anybody to fly the plane, but what we're going to do is we're going to fly to Los Angeles because there's somebody there that can fly the plane. So just hang on. We're going to fly to Los Angeles, and you'll go from Los Angeles to Dallas." And so we thought, okay, all right, well, we'll be getting home a little later this evening, I guess, but we'll see. We'll go, unexpected detour to Los Angeles. About 20 minutes go by. Pilot comes on the intercom again, and he says, "Hey," he didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing. Comes on there, he says, "Hey, hate to tell you this, but we've sat on the tarmac for so long now, if we flew to Los Angeles, we would exceed our maximum number of flight minutes. So we can't we can't fly you to Los Angeles. And there's nobody that can fly the plane here to Los Angeles. So look, we're sorry about this. You're just going to have to, we're going to go back to we're just going to go back to the gate, and you're going to get your stuff. And what you need to do is walk out of the TSA area and go back out to the front of the airport to the original ticket desk. And the people out there will figure out what happens. We'll just figure something out for you. I think we sat out on the tarmac for about 2.5 hours. It was air conditioned. It wasn't like roofing or anything like that. But so we went in there and had to wait in line for several hours because there was it was a big plane. I don't know how big because I'm not smart. But there were enough people that we had to wait in line for hours. Is everybody in the line had to figure out what to do with them. So I had to spend the night. Had to spend an extra night there in Seattle. Now this was and they gave us a hotel. They paid for the hotel and gave us a meal voucher. And this was because this was their fault. They could not work out the math. This applies to a lot of corporate America now. But they could not work out the math on flight times and how much time pilots are going to spend in the sky, and do we have enough pilots for this? They just couldn't make it happen. They could not make it happen. So nobody was able to get to Dallas. I mean, and there were some people around us that were so hot. There were business owners. There was one doctor that had patients waiting for him on Monday. And also he was supposed to do payroll. So the patients did not get to see their doctor, and the people that worked for him to get paid. So anyway, it was a learning experience dealing with modern air flight. You know, we've got all these technical innovations. They can fly you across a continent, but they couldn't work out the math on do we have enough pilots and have they been flying too long. The math was too much for them. But we were able to get flights out. They switched us up. We flew out early in the morning, Monday morning yesterday. This time they flew us to Houston. And when I was in Houston, we got on our plane to go to Gulfport. We were on that plane for about 20 minutes, and the pilot came on the intercom and said, hey, I'm sorry to tell you all this. He didn't say y'all. I'm just paraphrasing. He says, hey, I'm sorry to tell you all this, but when we were loading the luggage on, we noticed that there was a hose that was just disconnected and dangling up in this plane. And we got to figure out what's gone wrong with this hose. So anyway, we all had to get off that plane. At that point, patience was wearing thin. Yes, patience was wearing thin. And eventually, but I made it home. They just had to find us a new plane. It took like 90 minutes to get a new plane to get us on, that the hoses were all connected. I am glad that they didn't take off with a disconnected hose of some kind. It would have been scary. But anyway, made it back. That's why I wasn't here yesterday, is the airline could not do math. Even though they're smart enough to figure out how to go in the air and fly really fast and go across some of these planes go to other continents and stuff. They couldn't work out the math on our flight. I've got to take a very brief time out. I'll come back. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it was like going up there and visiting all these communists. The Uncle Henry Show continues on News Radio 710 WNTM. News headlines coming up very soon. In the last segment of the show, I was telling you about my trip to Seattle, the land of communism, but I didn't really spend much time at all in Seattle. The purpose of the trip was to go visit a relative in the Navy, a young man in his mid-20s who had been deployed in Israel, and so we wanted to go spend some time with him. He really wanted to see some family, so we went up there. And he lives in a place called Oak Harbor, Washington, which is on an island called Whidley Island. Whidley, Whidley Island. I'd never heard of this island. It's 2 hours northwest of Seattle. I was unprepared for what I was going to see up there because this place is one of the most beautiful places I have ever seen. Our entire country is gorgeous. Every state in this country is gorgeous. No exception up there. This island, one of the most beautiful places I have ever seen in my life. Mountains. The whole thing is coastline, of course, because it's an island. So it's all coastline with mountains and beautiful big trees. Just gorgeous. If you want to see what I'm talking about, I put some of my pictures on my Facebook page. Just when we walked in a forest, there's a place you can look up online called Desolation Pass. I tried to take pictures of Desolation Pass, and I just could not fit enough in the picture. I couldn't fit enough in a picture to actually transmit using a photograph how beautiful it was. I couldn't do it. I was incapable of photographing Desolation Pass. It is just unbelievably gorgeous. You'd have to see it yourself. So I encourage you to look it up. Look up Whidley Island or Whidbey Island. Look up Desolation Pass. Just gorgeous. The amazing thing about this island to me is that it was August. We were there at the very end of July, the first couple of days of August. The high temperature was 70. That's how mild their summers are on this island. High temperatures, sometimes it gets to like 75. High temperature of 70. And in the wintertime, the average high temperature in the wintertime is mid-40s. The average low temperature is like mid-30s. Sometimes it goes, it rarely gets below 20. This is the Pacific Northwest, north of Seattle. And I asked the people living there, I says, what's going on? Why doesn't it get colder? And they said it only snows maybe once a winter. And they said it's because it's right there at the Puget Sound. There's some kind of scientific explanation of how they've got their own specific climate because of the wind currents and the ocean currents and all of this kind of stuff. They have their own specific climate just to the island. So if you like to do things outdoors, highs in the summer in the mid-70s, lows in the winter in the mid-30s. I mean, it's just, if you want to be outdoors, what a place to be, and just gorgeous like you wouldn't believe. So it just really enjoyed being up there, just for the weather and the natural beauty of the place. Now, my young relative, I've gone past the news break. I'm going to have to play some news headlines here. But I'll tell you, I have a little bit more about this that I'll tell you about, and then I'll get into city council and other stuff. But I'll tell you a little bit. I'll tell you what it's like to live up there, because I met a bunch of conservatives. Yes, I went to a conclave of conservatives up there, and I'll tell you about that after the news break. Uncle Henry Show continues here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Eventually, I'm hope to get to city council coverage here, but if you just tuned in due to your lack of initiative or lack of interest, tonight at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be a part of the Christian Comedy Revival Show, Killer Bees, doing comedy out in West Mobile at Revive Church. Got another comedian that's going to be doing comedy and also part of the show. This is absolutely free tonight. The show starts at 7. It is videotaped for television. It airs on some Christian stations here on the Gulf Coast. There's a free meal at the church for the first come, first serve. I think they've got enough for about 100 people, provided by Alec Naaman. So it's good food. The food starts at 6. The show starts at 7. Christian Comedy Revival at Revive Church. It's out near the grounds in West Mobile. It's at 601 Ziegler Circle East. 601 Ziegler Circle East. And thank you to Killer Bees for inviting me to come out and just be a part of it. I will not be comedic, but other people are there that are pros, and they'll be very comedic. Now, before I go on to city council coverage or anything else, I just wanted to finish telling you about what I learned from these folks up there on Whidbey Island, which is about 2 miles northwest of Seattle. Now, my young relative that's in the Navy, he's a member of a motorcycle club. This is where all the men wear these special jackets, not like Fonzie. Not as cool as Fonzie, but they wear jackets and everybody has their own nickname. The president, now my young relative's in his mid-20s, but there's men of all ages in the motorcycle club. It's a national club, and their chapter there on Whidbey Island, or Whidley Island, the president's, his name was Mad Dog. Now, he's in his mid-50s, retired. I think he was retired Navy. Mad Dog was the president. I talked to him, and I talked to the past president was also there. His name was Jarhead because he's a Marine. He's 63 years old. And I also talked to Goose. He was in his 30s. We had a wide variety of age groups. Most of these men lean to the conservative side of the political spectrum. But I asked them, what is it like to live up here? Because we all read about it in the news. Seattle seems quite wild. And they said that they didn't have any political complaints about, wild political positions up there. Their biggest complaint was, and you may relate to this, their biggest complaint up there, living on that island and living in the state of Washington, was that they pay enormous amounts in taxes, and they don't feel like they get their money's worth. Can you relate to that? That was their biggest complaint about the governing up there. They feel like they paid too much in taxes for what they got for their money. Gasoline, I saw it between Seattle and I think the highest price I saw was $6.40 a gallon in Seattle. On the island, it was about $5 a gallon. But I saw prices ranging anywhere from $5 to $6.40. They complained quite a bit about gas prices. They claimed that they did not get their money's worth for what they paid in taxes on gasoline, and they said they didn't get their money's worth for what they paid in any taxes up there. They didn't complain about any kind of left-wing policies or anything like that. They were just complaining about the high cost of living created by the high taxes up there. They also told me that they had never had any kind of homeless problem up in that part of Washington State. But they said that the homeless problem has gotten so bad in Seattle that what they do in Seattle is they'll get buses and fill the buses with homeless, and they'll drive them up to Burlington, which is closer to the island, and they'll drive them up to Mount Vernon, not Mount Vernon, Alabama, but Mount Vernon, Washington. They said that the Seattle authorities will fill buses with homeless and then bus them upstate. So they're exporting the homeless out of Seattle and to points northward and letting other municipalities deal with the cost and the impact of it. And they're not anti-homeless. They want to help them, like most people do. But they do resent the fact that it's not their homegrown homeless. They have homeless exported to them from Seattle. They mentioned that one of these, and there's so many little towns all around that island that would remind you of Goshen, Mississippi, Fairhope, all these little towns on the water, just gorgeous up there on the island. And a lot of these towns now have to build shelters for the homeless that have been exported to their towns. But again, no, they had these men. They didn't have a lot of big complaints about policy. They really they loved the environment that they lived in up there. And I got the sense that people didn't have a lot of time to argue about politics because it was just so naturally beautiful. You wanted to be outside all the time. Yeah, you just wanted to be outside all the time. And I felt the same way. It feels like a crime being inside up there when it's August 1st and the temperature's 70. You just want to get out in it and look around. And was glad we got to. But I wish I had more exciting things to report, but no other major incidences to report. Just enjoyed seeing people up there enjoying the outdoors. I would never leave where I live. I love where I live and I love the people. But if I had to live somewhere else and I could afford it, I wouldn't mind living somewhere that the average high in summer is 75 and the low in winter usually stays in the 30s. I would be glad to go up there. And I hope to visit and tell you more things about it. Now, I want to tell you about today's Mobile City Council meeting. We'll get to that after the break here on the Uncle Henry Show. Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. We have news headlines coming up here in about 10 minutes and then more Uncle Henry Show. Before I get to the Mobile City Council coverage from today, I just got a press release. The press release is from the Doug Jones campaign, for those that are interested. And judging by all the Doug Jones signs I'm seeing around town, and on the Eastern Shore especially, this may excite you Doug Jones fans. The press release reads, Louise Jones. Now, I don't know who this is. I don't know if that's Doug Jones' wife or his mama or his sister or daughter. I don't know. Louise Jones is bringing the Doug Jones campaign to Mobile this Thursday with her Women for Alabama listening tour. She will sit down with Dr. Kalisha Figures, the wife of Shamari Figures, for a fireside chat about the issues Mobile women and families are facing. Now, a fireside chat. Now, do they realize it is August? Most of us are not sitting fireside in Mobile, Alabama in August. But she was going to sit down. This is what the press release says. A fireside chat about issues Mobile women and families are facing. This is going to be Thursday at 5:10 p.m. I don't know why not 5:10 p.m. And this is going to be at the Fuse Factory on Government Street in downtown Mobile. So if you're interested in, I guess this is for women. This is the what is it called? The Women for Alabama listening tour. So if you're a woman and you want to be listened to, that is Thursday evening, around 5 o'clock at the Fuse Factory on Government Street, a fireside chat in August. All right, so today, Mobile City Council meeting. First of all, I want to compliment the council on once again doing a meeting that was about an hour long. This is outstanding. Not wasting the time of the citizenry by running your mouths. That's outstanding. Very, very good. Let's see. Before I get to what the mayor had to say, Mobile City Councilman Ben Reynolds had an important message about back to school for the citizens of Mobile and his district.
Councilman Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Back to school for all the children starts this week and next. And to all the parents out there who are listening, you already know this, but good luck in making sure that your kids have a clean room in preparation for school starting, but also that they start going to bed at the appropriate time so they can get ready to start waking up bright and early.
Now, I can't remember a council person offering parental advice. This is like telling parents how to parent. Let me back this up. This is especially for the parents of District 4. If you're wondering what should I be doing now? School is starting soon. What should I do as a parent? He's telling you, make sure they have a clean room.
Parents out there who are listening, you already know this, but good luck in making sure that your kids have a clean room in preparation for school starting.
All right, so you should have your children learn to clean their room.
But also that they start going to bed at the appropriate time so they can get ready to start waking up bright and early and ready for the day. So,
all right, so Ben Reynolds teaching you how to parent.
I hope everybody had a wonderful summer. Looking forward to this school year. I hope it's a very productive school year for all of our youth throughout the city. Thank you.
All right, isn't that nice? This is I can't remember Mobile. I've heard a lot of stuff come out of the Mobile City Council members through the years. I'm having trouble remembering if they've ever offered parenting advice. All right, now, also on the back-to-school topic, Councilman Corey Penn announcing that there's going to be a back-to-school prayer walk to pray for academic success.
We're going to host a prayer walk in District 1. And this is an opportunity for us to come together an evening before to cover our schools, cover our city in prayer. So I'm asking everyone to join us for a community prayer walk as we pray for students, teachers, school staff, parents, first responders, and our entire community and city. It will be held Sunday, August the 9th at
That's this Sunday.
Fred D. Richardson Tricentennial Park at 6 p.m.
All right, now see, wouldn't that be fun to go to the Fred Richardson Park at 6 o'clock Sunday night for the prayer walk?
Everyone is welcome. Bring your
Everyone, that means you. You were wondering if you should go. He said everyone.
park at 6 p.m. Everyone is welcome. Bring your family, bring your friends. And this is the opportunity to pray, but also get you some exercise in. And so it's a prayer walk, and hopefully we'll be doing these throughout the year as well, and build fellowship and come up with strategies and ideas how we can support each other and lift each other up.
All right, so that is what a kind invitation. All of us are invited to build fellowship and pray for all these people. All right, very good. Now, I know you're waiting. You want to hear, everybody just loves young Mayor Spiro, his optimism and enthusiasm. It's so catchy. It's infectious. Well, this morning, young Mayor Spiro went to the battleship. There was a ceremony because today is Coast Guard Day. So let's listen together as young Mayor Spiro talks about his experiences at Battleship Park this morning.
This morning, I had the pleasure and opportunity to attend a wreath laying for men and women of the United States Coast Guard who have given their lives in service to our area and our nation. This was out at the battleship, and it was just a real joy to celebrate the legacy that the Coast Guard has here in Mobile. Our ties with the Coast Guard start all the way back to 1819 when there was a revenue ship, the Alabama, commissioned and assigned to the Port of Mobile in 1819. And we have been a Coast Guard city ever since, officially recognized later. But we were truly blessed to be home for 3 major regional commands, including Sector Mobile, the Aviation Training Center, and the Gulf Strike Team. The Gulf Strike Team responds to emergencies. One of only 3 in the country, and one is living right here in Mobile. All aviators in the Coast Guard are trained right here in Mobile. That's something to be proud of. And so today was just about honoring those who are serving us today, those who have served in the past, and especially 12 individuals who gave everything. And at the ceremony, after laying the wreath, they read out all 12 members' names who had passed away, and they ring a ship's bell for everyone. And it was a very good reminder that we are lucky and blessed to live in the country that we live in with the freedoms we enjoy. But those freedoms are not the result of luck. They are the result of hard-earned sacrifice, hard-fought wins that many paid the ultimate price for. So it was a real joy. If you hadn't been out to the battleship lately, you should go. It's so cool out there. I'm reminded they opened the doors, and they had the big blackbird right there behind a color guard. It was something to see. So if you haven't been in a while, good time to go.
All right. Young Mayor Spiro, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I enjoyed hearing his comments about the people that have served this country in the Coast Guard. And yes, I appreciate the Coast Guard very, very much and all that they do for our country. Thank you, young Mayor Spiro. All right, look, I'm out of time. If you want a lot more coverage of the City Council meeting, it is available on YouTube, City of Mobile's YouTube channel. You can watch the entire 1-hour meeting there. You can fast forward through the boring parts when you do that. Or you can just leave it on. It really can act as it'll help you fall asleep. It really will. A lot of it will help you fall asleep when you put it on there. All right, there's more Uncle Henry Show coming up after the news break here on News Radio 710 WNTM.